Grit is a small creative agency that specializes in helping outdoor industry brands of all sizes grow their business. At Grit, they help develop branding and create advertising materials to increase awareness and drive traffic. To learn more about Grit's services and portfolio, you can visit www.downtogrit.com or you can inquire by email at info@downtogrit.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hunt the Wild podcast. I'm your host, Adam Bowlds. Today, I'm joined with the owner and lead pro staffer of Buzzard Roost Saddles, Benny Gregoire and Ben Parker. So I'm going to bring them on now and let them say hello and introduce themselves a little bit, and we'll dive into the show. I guess, Benny, if you want to go first and introduce and tell a little bit about yourself, and then Ben will have you go after, and then I want you both to explain how you got started in hunting, whether it was at a later time in life or something you did as a kid.
Okay. Hey, Adam, what's up? I'm Benny, and that's Ben.
How y'all doing? Ben Parker.
So how we got started in hunting is what you want to know?
That's what I want to know, yeah. Give a little background story just of yourself. Do you do Buzzard Roost Saddles full time? Do you have another job, like kind of, you're married, have kids, that kind of thing?
Oh, yeah. I'm married, got plenty of kids. Got three of them, actually, three kids. I got two girls and a boy. We live down in South Louisiana. Sanamo is the name of the town we live in. We both live in Sanamo. We grew up hunting right down the road, 2 minutes from the house. We're actually family. Ben's my younger cousin. And, yeah, we've been doing hunting. I hate to steal all this thunder, but both of us been hunting pretty much all our life. From the time we could walk, we've been hunting. I started at probably about 2 years old. My dad tells me he used to bring me into the woods, and he'd pack a sleeping bag and tuck it into the bottom of the tree when he would climb up in his climber. And he said I was pretty good. I just sat there and I'd take a nap, or I'd sit and I'd look around, So, yeah, I've been doing it for a long time.
Now, are you and Ben, you guys are cousins, right? Are you guys around the same age?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, I'm 36.
And I'm 22. So
okay. So Benny's got all the knowledge here in the woods. Is that what you're saying, Benny? Or
no, that dude's a killer. That dude's a killer.
He got a little more than me.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
I tell you what, I want him on the team for sure.
So we've kind of known each other for a little bit, but I want to kind of backtrack. We wanted to do this show last week or 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, but some complications. So we're going to backtrack back to the Mobile Hunters Expo in Ohio. How was the turnout for you guys and just for the other vendors there? I was only there for Saturday, so I didn't get to see the full Friday and the Sunday. We went home, but how was the turnout, and kind of explain to the listeners that maybe haven't been to an event like that what kind of to expect?
Yeah, I think Chris and the Fuel by the Outdoors team, they did a really good job. They put together a good expo. Had lots of vendors there, mostly in the saddle hunting community. I believe Latitude and Trophy Line, TX5, Cruiser Saddles, Dryad, Two Bore, Hunt Light, and there was another guy there. I apologize, I don't remember what the other company was, but I think that hit all of them, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then you had multiple other vendors. Some was selling sticks, some were selling ring of steps. Bullman Outdoors was there with a ring of steps.
A couple aider people selling the aiders, the Amsteel guys. Ultimator was out there.
Yeah. Cody Becky with Apex Custom.
Yeah, he was out there.
So I kind of want to paint the picture for those maybe thinking about getting into the saddle game. So we're gonna talk to people that already do it, but we're gonna mainly, I think, gear this show towards people you know, that aren't sure if it's right for them, if they're ready to make the jump or not. But correct me if I'm wrong, you can't buy a saddle in a big box store. Is that correct?
There's one saddle you can pick up at Academy. I think you can pick up the Hawk saddle at Academy, I believe. But for the most part, no big box stores, only your archery shops or things like that.
Yeah, so something that really, you know, being a new saddle hunter turned me on about that expo is being able to get in the gear and be able to try it out. I can't imagine being able to go to Academy and hang around in a saddle and try it out. So it gives people, you know, a good opportunity to try stuff out before they drop hundreds of dollars on that stuff. So for me being a consumer, that was one of the main reasons, you know, I went. So I think if you're thinking about getting involved in saddle hunting, from my standpoint, I would totally, you know, go to one of those shows and try them out, because they all do feel different and they're all built differently, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you own a saddle company.
Yeah.
How did you get the idea? Was there a moment where you're just like sitting on the couch, or like you're in a tree and you're like, I'm going to make a fucking saddle? I mean, do you remember that point?
That point for me was about 8 years ago when I decided I needed something different for my hunting needs, and a lock-on and a climber just wasn't doing it anymore. I needed something to be more mobile, to be more packable, and that's when I got into the saddle hunting. I jumped on the Saddle Hunter forum and other forums like that. There really wasn't any Facebook pages or anything like that to look at. It was pretty much just a Saddle Hunter forum. Trophy Line had a saddle out, and Arrow Hunter had a saddle out, but other than that, there weren't any other saddle manufacturers on the market. So for me, I just didn't want to spend the money, so I figured I could make one. And I made my first saddle out of a sit drag. I split in half, long ways, and then I tied in some paracord into a net shape, and it much resembles like your tethered saddle right now. But you know, it wasn't all that safe for sure. But it got me, you know, 30 foot in a tree without packing a climber. And it really changed the game for me.
So you came up with this idea. You're like, nothing's working for me. I'm just going to build my own shit, you know, whatever. Where'd the transition come from? I'm going to make this for myself, and I'm going to end up at a mobile hunters expo in Ohio. I mean, there had to have been some point where you're like, yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to make this a business.
That was never my intention.
Yeah.
Never my intention. So I made that first saddle for myself. I would keep it in my backpack on public land, and I wouldn't tell anybody, you know, that I was using one. I told Ben, but
yeah, I remember when he hit me up like two or 3 years ago, and he was like, "Look, man, you need to get in the saddle hunting. Like, it's from where we're hunting from, you know, South Louisiana." He was like, "It's a game changer. You need to really look into this and try it out." And I had no idea what he was talking about. I didn't even know what a saddle looked like. And it took me coming over, and he actually had to show me like how it worked. And after that, I was like, "Oh, this is game on. Like 100% must have for everything I do down here." So it's been all up from there. I love it.
Now be honest, when he showed you that first prototype, were you like, God, this thing looks like a death trap? Or you're just like, I'm going to climb that tree, I don't even care?
I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of shaky with it at first. Like, we tried it out in his front yard, and it was one of the first ones he made. And I was I mean, I wasn't skeptical about it. I knew it was going to work, but I didn't know the full aspect of it and what, like, every benefit you could get from it at the time, until I actually started hunting with it. And I was like, man, this is a real game changer. You know, I got to have something like this.
So I thought maybe, Benny, I thought maybe you had, you know, started saddle hunting out of another company's saddle and you thought maybe you needed some adjustments. So you just you started from scratch. So it was weight, right? Was that the main reason why you wanted to get rid of it, or was it, you know, being able to get in any tree also, I imagine?
Oh yeah. Any tree, weight. You know, I've never sat in anybody else's saddle until I come on the market and started making them. And then guys would come to the house with, you know, other saddles and say, you know, I want your local, I want to try yours. And, you know, I want to support a local guy. And, you know, they tried it and they was like, wow, this is more than just supporting a local guy. We really think it's comfortable and you really have something. But no, I never sat in anybody else's. But, you know, one thing for me was I hunt down here. We call it Warren Womack style. And Warren Womack is a gentleman that's very up in age, and he can still kill them with the best of them. He's got, you know, over 300 documented kills with a traditional bow. He's got over 100 with a rifle. Yeah. And he hunts a particular style where he just hunts strictly feed trees or the feed that at that time of year. And here we don't have a whole lot of crop fields, so it is mostly feed trees, whether it be a subspecies of acorn or something like that. But he goes until he finds the hottest sign there is. He waits till he sees the dirt beat down. Leaves are out the way. The dirt is just beat down. You see acorn caps. You see fresh crap, middle-aged crap, and old crap. And it's like, that's the tree they're frequenting. They're coming back regularly. And he calls it a high percentage tree. And a lot of guys down here adopt that style of hunting, and I'm one of them. And when you're packing a climber or a lock-on, you know, that weighs, let's just say roughly 20 to 30 pounds, sometimes the mental game, you're looking for a spot and you see a marginal spot and you're like, hey, I'm just going to hunt here because I'm tired of packing this. So you throw it on a tree and you hunt and you don't see nothing. And you just wasted your time. So moving to a saddle helped me shed that mental game, and I was able to start moving, and I wouldn't stop at those marginal spots. And I got to where I don't stop at a spot unless I know that I'm going to kill a deer. And I'm not a horn hunter, I'm a meat hunter. So for me, anything that walks in is going to die. And so hunting that style is pretty productive. And, you know, that's what got me into saddle hunting. And I think, you know, just me talking to Ben, and he hunted the same style with a climber and everything too. So,
yeah. Yeah. I grew up, and I don't know if everybody's this way, but I grew up hunting, putting up ladder stands. You know, it's like a Midwestern thing maybe, but you put up the ladder stand and you hunt it 17 times out of the year. And, you know, a few years ago, I really started like kind of venturing. I shouldn't say a few years ago, maybe 10 or 15 years ago, I started venturing out on my own and kind of trying to adapt and adopt my own kind of practice. So I started doing this more mobile hunting thing. But something I found, we have a lot of strip mines around here, and a lot of them have only been, I guess, out of commission for 10, 15, 20 years. So a lot of the trees, you can only get 10 or 15 feet in. And
what's a strip mine?
A strip mine would be like they basically just dig a giant hole and take the coal out of it.
Okay.
And then what they do is they pretty much clear all the land, so it's all barren, and then they take all the coal out. And then when they're done, it fills up with water. They stock it with fish and they plant trees. But it takes trees a long time to grow, right? So it has a lot of small trees in it. And there's very select trees that you can get tree stands in. And something I battled with last year was there was a tree I wanted to get in to kill this deer. And had I been in that tree, I would have killed that deer. But I had to be 20, 30 yards off because that was the only tree my stand would fit in. So I was like, time to change up and do something different.
Yeah.
So we're going to try not to be too biased here. If you can remove yourself from being biased against your saddle.
For sure.
just in general, I guess, like when choosing a saddle, there's tons of options out there now, right? What are kind of some of the specifics that people should be looking for? Like, I guess weight, comfort, that kind of stuff, but kind of dig deeper into that as like supports in your back and supports here and there and all that good stuff.
So a lot of it has to do with your hunting style. And if you're an extremely mobile guy, you hunt miles, and you absolutely want to go to a saddle. I'm not one that ever hung up on weight. I think shedding weight and shedding, from a lock on or a climber down to a saddle was enough for me. I'm not going to go count ounces and say, if I use this rope, it's, 10 ounces lighter than this other rope. And I would do the same thing. Me personally, I would do the same thing if I was shopping for a saddle. That does not factor in for me.
Okay.
Other guys it does, and there are saddles that cater to that, and they're very good saddles. But I would say the average guy is going to say that saddle is less comfortable than a little bit heavier saddle that's got a lot more material to it. And that's okay, because I know guys that they don't sit forever in their saddle. They'll sit 2 hours and they're done. Like the Warren Womack guy, he doesn't hunt but a couple hours and he's done right there. If he doesn't see anything in a couple hours, he's moving. So, I mean, that you got to gauge what your personality is for hunting. If you're just going to sit there a couple hours, get the lightest saddle on the market, and it's going to be a good saddle. And then go from there and decide how much you want in comfort. Do you want to upgrade to comfort, which is going to weigh more? And you just got to figure that out for yourself. What you think?
I think a lot of people, like when they try out new saddles, they put them on. And this is just me. If I didn't know anything about them, my first thing would be what I felt most comfortable in.
Yep.
And a lot of people, when they don't know anything about it, they'll come in and they want to feel secure. They want to feel a more not the light ones, like a more of like a 2-panel style saddle where they feel more secure. That's mainly what I've gotten from going to these shows and helping people try out new saddles and stuff. And the people that have never done it, the main thing is safety. They obviously want to feel like if something were to happen, they feel 100% safe in the tree. And that's all about. It's all about actually getting in a saddle and trying them all out first and seeing which ones you like and which ones you feel safe in. That's my biggest thing that I've got from it.
Number one question is it comfortable?
Yeah.
That's the number one question. And you can actually watch it on people's faces. The skepticism as they walk up and as they're putting it on, and then when they sit in a tree and they're actually hanging from it, you can watch their whole face change if it's actually comfortable to them. And I know, trying to be unbiased, but I only know my saddles.
We're going to get biased after this. So,
okay. So one thing with, mine and with others, I'm assuming as long as you have the manufacturer of that saddle there, that's where those expos shine, is you got the pros at their own saddle. They know how to make it comfortable. They can look at you and say, hey, we really need to do this with the saddle you got on, and it's going to make it comfortable for you. And I've had guys sit in my saddle and say, and you just kind of see them still hesitant, and you're like, all right, move this. And as soon as you move it, that comes back over their face again, and it's like you can see the light bulb go off. Man, this is nice.
Yeah, a big part of what he's talking about is like pinch points. Like, where's the saddle pinching you from? Is it like mid-leg, waist area, back area? Like, a lot of people, when they get in it, it wants to pinch. Like, I'm not trying to like be biased or anything, like you said, no, non-biased or whatever, but like our saddle specifically, like it pulls from the back. It don't pull from your mid leg. Like you'll hop in another saddle and it'll want to ride up or pull really tight on your thigh area. Ours, it's just there's a lot of things you can adjust specifically for you and your size or waist size or whatever that can allow that saddle to pull from a different area and not aggravate you if you're in the tree for 3 or 4 hours, say hunting all day or something like that.
Yep. And other saddles have that capability too, not just ours.
Yeah.
You know, other saddles can do that. And I think with saddle hunting growing like it is, I think there's still a learning curve. I don't think we've touched even the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the whole market. Mm-hmm. If you look at how many saddle tree stand manufacturers there are, there's tons. You know, there's that much room for saddles too. And they all have something to them that, you know, makes them special. And if that fits your personality, that's the saddle you should go with.
Which is now going to lead me into my next question is, and you guys have touched on it a little bit, but we're going to go deep into it now. What makes you stand out from other companies with your saddle? What do you have to offer that they don't?
A full range of adjustments. We have a lot of adjustments. We have, so we'll start. Your tether has adjustment. There's multiple ways to adjust your tether. That's not just our tether. That's everybody's tether. Where you put it on the tree in relationship to your height. You know, some guys run it above their head. I was talking to a gentleman today, and over the phone, I'm having him explain to me where his tether's at because he's telling me that he's just not getting it comfortable. It feels like it's wanting to pinch him across his waist. And I said, all right, well, where's your tether? And he told me 6 inches above his head. Well, I can tell you that's really high. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull up and it's going to give you hip pinch. It's going to pinch your belly. So lower that tether down and you're going to get more of a 45-degree angle, which evens the pull across your hips and across your back.
So what is, I'll stop you for a second, but what is a good placement then? Is it eye level for your tether? Is it your forehead, your hairline, your chest?
I personally, starting out, if the first time you put it on a tree, I would put it somewhere in your face. Okay. Somewhere in that range. I would start maybe at the top of my head and work my way down. I actually run my tether around here.
Okay. Now, Ben, are you any different, or are you right there with him?
I'm the same way because I'm what they call that when you like. I don't like to stand. I like to
a leaner.
A leaner. I'm a leaner. So I'd like to have mine a little lower, probably chin level, I'd say. So that's just me. But that's the thing about saddle hunting. It's like you can customize every little detail, even in the saddle, the ropes, the tether, the platform, sticks. It's all about what you want and what's comfortable for you and the best fit for you. That's why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's not like you buy a ladder stand out of a box, you're kind of stuck with it, right? You buy a saddle and sticks and a platform, and you're like, the platform sucks, but I like the other two. Like, you can just swap out and still be in the game without dishing out too much more money. Yeah. Can you give some specs on your saddle? I know you said you're not super obsessive about weight when it comes to yourself for hunting, but some people are. So I don't know if you have any weight specs for your saddle. And I guess sizing too. Is there a small, medium, large? Is it one size fits all? How's that kind of work?
Yeah, there's a small, regular, large. A small for us goes down about a 27, 28 waist up to about a 32. I know Ben and I, we've sat in the small size because you don't have many guys that are small. So at a show, we'll sit in the small just to kind of demo it and, gain attention. But so we can fit in that. And I think both of us are around a 32 to 34. Yeah. And then, a regular size will be from about a 32 up to 36. And then a large is 36 up to about a 42. And in the northern states, if you're right on that line, say you're a 32, during the warm weather, you could probably sit in a small. Well, during the cold weather and you got extra layers on, you're probably going to want to go with the regular. And, you know, if you're in a 36, which would be a regular according to the specs on the website, and you're in the northern states, you probably want to go with the large. And I found that I could pick up a large saddle right now and go hunt out of it and be fine. It's not going to feel too big. So if you're that guy that's right there at the 36 and you're thinking about a saddle, go with the larger. That way you have room for extra clothes.
Now I have to ask this. You know, it's the saddle has to be rated, I'm sure, as tree stands do. What is a weight rating for those?
Industry standards 300 pounds.
Okay.
And they're tested well above that. Well above that.
So I want to kind of, you know, the sticks and the platform are important too. So I kind of want to transition into that. You guys definitely have a lot more experience with that stuff than I do. So what kind of, we're going to kind of do what we did with the saddles, but with sticks and platforms. But like, how do you know which one's right for you? Is it just you have to try it? I mean, what if you're a guy that has to buy it online? How do you know you're making the right decision?
I think a lot of it depends on where you're hunting, and like if it's a lot of it could be private land or public land, public or private, or like just what type of hunter you are. If you like to move a lot and you say you like to hunt 2 or 3 miles, I would say a one stick would probably be, personally, that'd be the option for me. I mean, that's what I do. Or if you had private land and you'd like to hunt presets, I'd get 3 or 4 sets of sticks and just have a bunch of presets of where I wanted to hunt, and that's how I would do it. But it all depends on what type of hunter you are and where you're hunting, in my opinion.
Yeah, so a big thing with those then is probably weight, right? Because those are going to be a lot heavier, obviously, than cloth and ropes.
Yeah. And I would say too, if you're just getting into saddle hunting, don't overthink it. If you already have 4 sticks and you've been packing 4 sticks in a lock-on stand, you know, don't go blow a whole bunch of money getting something else, getting a 1 stick, because they can cost up to $300. Now, I'm not saying don't ever go buy that. You know, go get what fits your personality, what fits your system. Saddle hunting's all about systems. But a new guy going from a climber to a saddle, he may not have any of it, you know, so he might need to go buy a set of sticks. But a lock-on guy might be packing 4 sticks and a lock-on. Well, I would say ditch the lock-on, jump in a saddle, and continue packing your 4 sticks, you know, and then from there evolve and adjust your system to fit your personality. Where when you see that something can benefit you, you know, it may be the 2 tether climbing method, it may be 1 sticking. You know, when you see something, it may be taking an 8er and adding to 2 of your sticks, and now you're only packing 2 sticks instead of 4. When you see something that can help you, just slowly move into it if that makes you more comfortable. But you don't have to go dump a whole bunch of money to get into saddle hunting. You know, it's roughly the cost of a tree stand. But I mean, they are expensive, but do you really want to be paying $100 for what you're going to be sitting in holding your life? You know, it's like you got to think about that too. But get in a saddle, use what you already have, and evolve from there.
So I'm glad you guys talked about cable aiders and single sticking and all this stuff. We are going to transition into that next. But I did just have a quick thought. Harnesses, you know, when you're hunting out of a stand, you wear a harness. Some of us wear a harness. They have expiration dates on them. Do saddles have expiration dates?
Yes, they do.
They do. So generally, how long is a saddle good for as far as the expiration date?
Gonna be anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. Okay. I don't know if I can ask you this because of legal reasons, but I mean, like, realistically, how long is the saddle going to last outside that expiration date? No comment.
Uh-uh.
Yeah. Okay. So cabelators. I guess, Ben, if you want to take this, just, a lot of us are new, including me. What is a cabelator?
So I'm actually new too. I've only been bow hunting out of a saddle for a year now, but cabelators, I mean, this year I definitely want to look into them because they help out a lot. I mean, you can quickly go from carrying 4 sticks at say 15 or so, 12, 15 pounds to 2 sticks and, cut that weight in half just with 2 aiders. It's basically a small little rope ladder made out of am steel. And you can customize it 3, 5, 4 steps, however you want to do it. But
and spread them to your length.
Your length.
Some guys 15 inches is a lot. Some guys it's 20. However far you want to stretch it. But yeah,
right. And it helps out a lot, especially on that first stick. You can put that first stick head level or a foot above your head, and you'll have that first step right at your knee. So I mean, that's an easy step.
Yep.
Step in that. And personally, what I want to do this year is run a 1 stick with an aider. So that double the 1 stick length even triple it with an aider. You'd be able to walk 6 or 8 feet at a time, move over with your saddle, put your knees on the tree, pick it up, and you 3 or 4 times, 8 foot each time. You're 30 plus feet in the tree right there. So
yeah, I use I'm 6'2". And so with my wild edge steps, my first step is 7 foot. That's as high as I can reach is 7 foot. And then I use a nader swader with an extension. And my first step's 7 foot. And then the cool thing about the wild edge steps, you're standing on it once you get to the top one. So your next step is 7 foot. So I pack when I'm running hardcore run and gun on the public land, I'll pack 5 wild edge steps, 4 of them to get me up the tree at 7 foot apiece. And then at the top, I'll put, 1 step on one side of the tree and a step on the other side of the tree. And that's my platform. I'll just sit on there similar to a ring of steps. But those aiders, man, they can get you up there because in wild edge steps are a pound apiece. So you're talking 5 pounds to get 30 foot.
Yeah.
It
definitely puts you at an advantage of getting higher. If you like to, some people, you ain't got to hunt high up in a tree. Like, everybody thinks you got to get 30 foot up in a tree to kill a deer. You can hunt 10 foot up in a tree and kill a deer, 5 foot up in a tree and kill a deer. But if you're one of those guys that say you're hunting down in South Florida and it's just pine trees everywhere and you need to get 30, 35 foot up in a tree, I'd definitely say go with aiders. That'll definitely help you, reach that level.
1 stick.
Yeah, or the 1 stick with just a single aider.
Now, whoever wants to tackle this, I know what it is, but I know there's probably a lot of listeners that don't know. How do you do the 1 stick? Is it you climb up the stick and then step on the platform and then move it? Is that how it works?
So think of it like you're using a climber, but in a saddle. So you want to reach as high as you can with your 1 stick, right? You tie it off, you set your stick, and you have your cable aider, your am steel, your rope ladder, whatever you have for your aider, and you climb all the way to the top of that stick. Once you're at the top of that stick, you'll put your tether as high as you can reach. Okay, and from there, you'll just put your knees against the tree, and you're sitting in just the saddle. You'll reach down, and you'll grab your 1 stick, and you'll unhook it from the tree. And then you'll set it as high as you can reach. And you'll strap it back on. You'll climb the aider, climb the step, get on top, and you'll pull your tether as high as you can. And it's just alternating like that. You just like a climber, you alternate your top, then you pull up your bottom. You pull up your top, then you pull up your bottom. Just like that. Yeah. And then the real advantage is when you go to come down, you rappel down. You have 30 foot of rope to rappel down off of, and you come down a whole lot quicker. You come down, you got your one stick at eye level. You just take it off, hook it to the back of your saddle, continue your rappel down, and then when you get to the bottom, you just yank on your it's either your bow pull-up rope or something that you have hooked up there to your
carabiner.
I can't think your carabiner on your rappel rope, and it'll pull it down. And so it's a lightweight system. That 30 foot of rope and your one stick is still, probably a quarter of what 4 sticks and a ladder stand would be. So
now let me ask you this. Let's just pretend, Benny, you're going to one stick and Ben, you're going to take 4 in. Who's going to get up the tree faster?
Ben.
Yeah. I'm going to get up faster, but say he's hunting and he's, sitting for a couple hours and he's been seeing a buck cross this ridge. He's been seeing a buck come, another one come, or a doe, or a couple deer come across this ridge. And it's about 80, 100 yards away, and it's a crossing lane. They just keep coming. He's going to be able to get down in maybe a minute and go over there and set up, and maybe another one will come by, and he'll be able to get a shot on that deer. That's the good part about one sticking and rappelling down is if you're sitting in a spot and say they got this one spot where deer just keep coming in and out, you can rappel down in 2 or 3 minutes and get over there and possibly get a shot within 20 or 30 minutes after that.
Now, what's the difference? I'm sorry. What's the difference between you two going up? Like, is Ben going to be 5 minutes faster, 20 minutes faster, 30 seconds faster?
No, he's just going to beat me.
Yeah. It all depends on how.
I mean, you got.
We're going to assume you guys are the same skill level, but.
Yeah, same skill level. I mean, the other thing is I'm 6 foot. He's 5'10", I can reach 7 foot on my first step. So it's going to be what and what. I guarantee you he can set 4 steps or 4 sticks faster than I can one stick up. Mm-hmm. But he's not going to beat me by much, maybe a minute or 2.
Yeah. And in comparison of all the weight he has to carry extra.
And a lot of things is practice. Like, I mean, you got to be able to practice pretty frequently and just know how to get up a tree safely with whatever method you're using. Practice all the time and just become comfortable with every move and take your time, and eventually you're gonna get in a rhythm and you're gonna be able to do it like nothing, like tying your shoes. So
yeah, and I don't want to take away from your question, but I use that time is my cool down time, my cool down period. Because here in Louisiana, like it's usually hot or it's not going to be cold for long. So going in and then you walk those miles, you're going to start sweating a lot. Now, our particular hunting style, we strictly hunt the wind. I don't think Ben hunts any other way.
I hope you're hunting the wind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some guys don't.
Some guys don't.
And, them big buck killers, some of them will spend some money on the scent lock and everything. Yeah. And I believe in that stuff too. I believe it works. I really do. But my style of hunting, that's not where I put and invest my money as a scent lock. It's not. I'll hunt the wind and I'll hunt the feed tree. I'm not going to a specific bedding and saying, hey, this wind works only for that bed. And I'm going to the tree that they hit the hardest, and I'm going to get on the downwind side. So I hunt the wind that way, and I don't know which direction they're coming from, but if that's the tree they're hitting, that's the one I'm going to hunt. It doesn't matter which way the wind's blowing. But so I use that as my cool down period climbing a tree. So I'm not worried about time. I'm worried about getting up and cooling down. So I'm not rushing up. I just want to move slow, take my time, make sure that's the tree I want, and I get at the height that I want that gives me the best advantage to see. So it's all in your style when it comes to that speed also.
Now,
I'd rather run to my tree and then climb slow than be slow getting there and then move fast, but
makes
that's
sense.
just me.
Now, we've really beefed up saddle hunting here. We've sold it to everybody, I think, but I've got to imagine that, it's not right for everybody. So who would those people be that it's not right for, you think?
The private land guys, and I'm not saying all private land guys shouldn't use it, but I mean, if you're happy going to your ground blind or box stand, or your lock on where you're going to kill deer as long as you're patient, those guys really don't have a need to invest in a saddle. They don't need to. Do I think it's still a valuable tool that they could use? Yeah, I do. But some guys, they didn't plan on moving, like Ben was talking earlier with the Ridge Runner. They didn't plan on moving anyway. They're not going to set up, and watch a ridge. Down here, I don't know how it is up in the North Country, but down here, guys join leases and they hunt strictly food plots. They'll hunt a food plot and they'll dump a bag of corn on the food plot, and that's all they're going to hunt. That guy doesn't need a saddle.
Yeah.
That guy just needs to put a good lock on, comfortable lock on, because you can't beat a Millennium lock on stand. Yeah. That thing's comfortable. You can't beat it. I can't beat it with my saddle, So that guy needs to sit there, wear his harness and kill deer.
Yeah, so you're basically saying saddles are for people that want to go get it, and stands are for people that just kind of want to chill back and relax, right? I mean, that's the gist of it.
I'd say it's for the more aggressive hunter.
Yeah,
for sure.
I like that. Yeah,
any moderately aggressive, that guy needs a saddle, because I've sat on food plots and looked, and the dang deer's running the other edge of the food plot. They know. Down here, they know. They're smart. All you got to go in is 1-2 times. My way of thinking on hunting is the best opportunity to kill a deer is the first time you hunt that stand.
Mm-hmm.
First time. And after that, your chance of success goes way down.
Leaving those breadcrumbs every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, something that over the past few years, and I'm sure there's a lot of influence from social media and TV and whatnot, is can't go in, the wind's bad, can't move in on this deer, it's scared we're going to bust them. But in reality, I hunt a bunch of public. So anymore, I'm just like, I'm going to get in a saddle. That deer's at the other end of the field. I'm going to move in on him. And if I blow him out, I'll just go to another piece of public land. Like, what do I have to lose,
Yeah.
I like that, just being able to hop down real quick and be able to move, because I'm a lock-on guy, get in a lock-on, sit it 17 times in the year or whatever, and the deer is always just a little bit too far out of range.
Growing up, we had box stands and we had ladder stands and all that on this piece right here by the house. It was our own little piece of heaven, and that's the way we hunted. We just didn't go into the woods. We left the woods alone, and we'd hunt the fringes. And, you can do it that way, but when we lost that lease, we had to explore other options, and, hunting the public land it's different. You can go into a spot down here. You go into a spot, the chance there's somebody in that spot already is high.
Mm-hmm.
It is here too. I think it is everywhere.
It must be.
Yeah.
I feel like the saddle hunting really blew up the whole.
Yeah, it definitely did, because it gave people the opportunity to basically go anywhere on public land with very minimal weight.
And it gave them confidence.
Yeah.
It gave them confidence to go that far in and not die.
And it's just like any other thing. It's something the deer, they're not used to. Right. You sit in a saddle, it almost looks like you're just another tree branch up in a tree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like anything else. You know, somebody comes out with a new fishing bait and the fish ain't ever seen it before, and they'll hit it for 3 or 4 years, and it'll be hot, and then it'll die down. Somebody else come out with a new one. It's kind of the same deal.
What's going to be the next thing after saddles then?
I don't know.
I got to know now so I can invest early.
I feel like the whole country's trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people are. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I don't know that the world will be around that long.
Yeah, I don't know.
Might be a floating hoverboard or something. You don't even touch the ground. There's no scent left behind.
Right.
Honestly, I don't know what can beat a saddle, really. For them certain people that hunt, you know, like you said, aggressively or moderate aggressive, you know.
The guy that figures that out is going to make it big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So, you guys are the first ones I've had on the show from Louisiana. I've never been down there. I got this picture in my head of what it looks like, bunch of gators and shit trying to bite your toes off. But kind of describe and lay out, I guess you can, obviously it's going to be different parts of the state, but we'll just go with the area you hunt, kind of describe and lay out the terrain, what everything looks like. And, you know, you said it's hot down there, but give me some specifics on the weather. Hot? Is it?
I mean,
it could be hot one day. It could be 28 degrees the next day. Yeah. Sometimes, depending on the time of the year. But
Satan's patio. I don't know. It's hot.
Yeah.
I've killed a deer in 95 degrees.
Yeah. So you deal with a lot of bugs and flies and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Mosquitoes.
Yep.
Terrible.
Describe what the terrain looks like. I mean, I'm just imagining you walk through pretty much what people hunt ducks in, just some big, nasty marsh. You're wet all the time. I mean, I don't want to be wet all the time when I'm deer hunting, so I'm kind of trying to figure out how you guys combat that.
You got to want to kill them.
You got to know where to step, and you got to wear hip boots, put it that way.
Yeah. Hip boots or chest waders.
Yeah. A lot of places we hunt, you take one wrong step and you go on over your head. I mean, you'll sink over your head and you'll be soaked, ruin the whole day for you.
Yeah, my biggest buck I killed a couple years ago, and I stepped out of the boat, and when I got out of the boat, I went up to my nipples.
Wow.
And I had hip boots on, and that's going to be your cold day. You're never going to do that when it's 95 degrees out. You're only going to do it when it's 20 degrees. And you got a what they call them Arctic freeze or something down here. Yeah. That's when you're gonna do it. I mean, you know the deer are gonna move, so you take off work or whatever, and you go. And man, I did that, and I was borderline fixing to tell my partner, "Hey, we just need to go back to the truck because I can't do it." But he said, "I got a rain suit underneath the deck of the boat," and so I got out, got the rain suit. And we run mud boats. So he took the mud boat and pushed me another 10 yards in. I was able to get out on a little bit higher land. And I finished the hunt with no socks, no pants other than a set of rain bibs. And the inside of my hip boots were soaking wet. And man, I got up there and I was freezing. And about 7:30, it's breaking daylight, and all I seen was horns coming through that swamp, and it's different. It's little shrub brushes and cypress trees, and you can hear them. And you look up, and all I saw was them horns coming through, and he come out, and I put a 50-yard shot on him, and I warmed up real quick.
Yeah, I was about to say, you probably felt 50 degrees warmer after that.
Yeah. I got down, and my partner texted me. He said, man, what'd you shoot? And I said, a freaking stud. And what was funny was walking in, I'm seeing all these hookings in my headlight, and I'm like, this guy's an idiot. Why did he put me off right here? There's no way I'd go hunt anywhere but here if I knew this place existed. It was just nothing but hookings. Like I knew I was going to see a buck that morning.
Nothing but what?
Hookings.
What's a hooking?
The trees
Like
are
a
hooked.
rub.
A rub.
Oh, a rub. Okay.
A rub.
Never heard that one. Hookins.
Hooking.
Yeah,
He hooks
tree
it.
hook.
Yeah. That's
And,
interesting.
man, dude, every other tree was hooked. And I'm talking like some big trees. This is a big tree to be hooked for us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Most of the time it's a little sapling, inch or two at max. If you see a 2-inch tree hook, that's a good buck down here. And these was hooking some good ones.
Now, real quick, just why I've got it on the brain. Do you see a difference? I know it's this way in Indiana, but do you see a difference in the size of deer when it comes to height of your rubs there? Usually a bigger deer would be a little higher and a smaller deer would be a little lower on the tree, or is that not really much of a thing there?
I don't know. I kill them all.
Yeah. You don't really pay attention to it?
I don't know which tree they hook. They don't. I mean, I don't. I'm not trying to be a butthole, but they don't tell you which tree they hooked.
Yeah, you're not too specific on it then.
No,
yeah. Okay.
Not at all. Brown is down, and I mean, a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but our population of deer isn't that big, and if you worked as much as I do, and you actually get a chance to go, you got to kill one, because if you come back and tell your wife you didn't kill anything, she's going to say that you wasted your time and you should have been home. So I'll kill whatever walks.
Now, I mean, you want to give advice, you want to give marriage advice too, because we do it all on this show. What's a guy do that, doesn't shoot a deer? He's one of those guys that's a headhunter and keeps coming home empty-handed and his wife's pissed.
You just got to keep telling her, I've seen this monster.
Yeah, he just wasn't close enough.
He just wasn't close enough.
Yeah.
I was this close, baby.
Just build it up. Build up the story. Make her involved.
Yeah. Like
build suspense.
Yeah. Tell her, like, when you're walking out the door, give you a good kiss for luck.
Yeah, something.
Uh-oh, getting X-rated here.
Yeah. I don't know what you tell that guy. I've never been that guy, because I've always understood that if you ain't working and you're not at home, you're taken away from the family. Like, you're taken away from family time. So you better kill something. You better have made it worth it.
Yeah. Now, do you guys eat a lot of deer meat at your house, or you still buy meat from the grocery store? How's that? I mean, you said you pretty much shoot anything that comes by, so I imagine you eat a lot of deer meat.
I did before I got the alpha gal.
Yeah, that's a sore subject for old Benny.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I got the alpha gal, so I'm allergic to mammals. I can't eat deer, rabbit, squirrels, elk, anything with hair. Can't eat it. Hogs. So
this is news to me. I haven't heard this. So what is it called?
Alpha gal syndrome.
Can we talk about what causes that, or we don't want to go that deep into it?
That's fine. I was bit by a Lone Star tick, and it's the only proven bug to have it. And they're starting to think that red bugs, chiggers, I don't know what y'all call them.
Yeah, chiggers.
Red bugs, chiggers carry it too. And last year I was out in North Louisiana, pine country. Got a lot of pine trees up in North Louisiana, and they hold the red bugs and they hold the ticks. And I got bit. I was there in October, and I think that's when I got bit. I know I got bit by red bugs. And then in January, was when I was diagnosed with the alpha-gal syndrome. I had a couple of allergic episodes where in the middle of the night I woke up and I was itching from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. Felt like I was on fire. My face started swelling. It wasn't good.
Now, if you take a big old bite of backstrap, what's going to happen?
I'll swell up. Not immediately. That's the funny thing about alpha-gal is it doesn't happen till 3 to 5 hours later when you start to digest it.
And that's just is it gonna affect your breathing or just make you itchy?
Oh, yeah. It's just like any other anaphylactic type allergic reaction. It'll close your throat up, swell your face. if you go check out my Instagram, I have pictures of me on Instagram with a swollen face.
Oh yeah.
Because I was taking pictures for my doctor and everything. And it's like, once I found out, you know, it's like I felt the need to tell people about this because I had never heard of it. Didn't know it existed. And I found out a lot of people don't know it exists, but, you know, don't want to get ticks. Spray down with your permethrin.
So can you get rid of it? Is there some kind of shot you can get, or will it go away in 10 years, or is it unknown?
The best they've seen is like 2 years. It goes away. If you can be like strict on your diet and make sure that you're not ingesting any mammal byproducts or anything like that spikes your levels again. So they say 2 to 5 years is pretty good. Some people end up with it all their life. I've been doing some reading, and there's a acupuncture that you can get done, and they stick needles in your ears. But the closest place to me is 8 hours away, and I think it's Cookeville, Tennessee. I believe I'd have to go to, but
I don't know. Backstrap's pretty good. I probably would have made that appointment like yesterday.
Yeah, if I had the time off of work,
yeah,
I would go. I'm wishing I would have done it because the one thing I want to do is go on an elk hunt. Like I've been going every year, and in September I want to go. And if I kill one, the first thing I want to do is cut the backstrap out, light a fire, and cook it. And I can't do it now. But
now, what kind of meat can you eat then?
Fish, seafood. I can eat poultry, so I can eat turkey and chicken, and
it's pretty much anything red meat's off limits.
Yeah. We did a quail gravy at work the other night, and they call it Benny friendly now at work when we cook.
Benny friendly. All right, so that's interesting about the ticks. I had heard of that a little bit. I wasn't really sure of what the terminology was for it and everything, but yeah, hopefully by the time you shoot an elk, you'll be cured of that. I'd hate for you to not be able to resist the temptation and then, you know, go into shock and die there next to the elk. That wouldn't be very good. So,
or would it be that bad?
You got a point.
I mean, you got to choose your spot that you want to go, and if that's how you go, I don't know that that's the worst way.
No, definitely not.
I don't want to go. I don't want to go because of allergic reaction. But I tell you what, if I could put an elk next to me when I go, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not really sure how I'm gonna word this question because you're different. You don't really target bucks, right? You're targeting a spot deer go to. You're not like looking for mature bucks and all that stuff. So I guess in general, locating deer down there, you're just mainly focusing on these feed trees. I mean, I'm imagining that there's so much water down there that you can't focus on water sources.
Well, you can. I mean, it's other than feed trees, my main thing personally is I like to hunt transitions.
Bingo.
Swamp
hunting's about the transitions.
Yeah.
So when we talk feed trees, we're talking about we go North Louisiana, and you'll get a totally different style of hunting just by going 2 hours north. But down here in the swamps, he's hitting on it. Transitions.
Yeah, like you can look on maps and you can see where there's an oak flat, and then there's a spot where it's just it might not be at the time you're looking at the map full of water, but at some point it was flooded, like almost a bottomland, a cypress break or something like that, and you can see it's the oak ridge will be green on the map, and then on the other side of the cypress break or whatever, it'll be kind of like brownish, tannish color where you can see like muddy water was there at one point. And that's pretty much my big thing is I like to target when I go on public places and stuff like that. Besides feed trees, I like to target that. And then another big thing will be like a good thick area in that oak ridge. Like if they have a big briar patch or something like that, I like to stick around that.
And I don't know if Ben ever does this, but he's talking about scouting, I'll look at a pine plantation, and if you're map scouting right, and they took the picture at the right time of season, you can see an oak tree sitting in the middle of that pine plantation that they left. And if you can get to it and check it, and if it's dropping, I guarantee you can kill a deer there, because it's in the middle of the thick bedding, and deer will come from all directions and they'll hit that tree just to stay in the security cover.
Yeah.
So if you can dial in on an oak tree inside the pine plantation, just looking at the maps, that's killer.
Now, for us Yankees up here up north, what's a pine plantation? Is that where they grow telephone poles, or what? Is it like a
exactly?
Okay.
That's
so why are they leaving an oak tree in the center of it?
Because the machine couldn't get to it, or sometimes it's part of the contract with the landowner that the timber company they can come in and timber it, but they need to leave a percentage of the oak trees or something like that.
Okay. Now, is that mainly on? You said the landowner, so it made me think. I was thinking more public, but is that more of a private land kind of thing?
Well, some of our public has landowners, but they donate it or lease it to the state.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard anything about obviously I've drove, through Georgia and stuff. And there's a bunch of pine trees and stuff, but I never heard it called a pine plantation. I've definitely never heard about a oak tree being in the center of it. So I don't know, maybe I can apply that here somehow. I don't know how, but
those pine plantations, sometimes you have the SMZs, which are streamside management zones, and they can't get the machinery up that close to the ditch, and they'll leave maybe a 20-yard wide in the middle of that pine plantation, and there's pin oaks and white oaks and everything there. And I've walked those ditches or those canals or whatever, and I've walked them just being quiet in the water, and I'll go bounce side to side checking the oak trees. I'll carry my binoculars and I'll look, and I'll see that, that tree's got fruit on it and it's dropping pretty good. And I'll ease over there and check the bottom, see if it's one of those hot trees. And I've killed deer a lot doing that. Those are easy. You walk one side and then you come back and you walk the other, and you'll find a hot tree. I had one time where I told a buddy I missed a doe that morning on a hot tree, and I went back down SMZ, and I come out and I told him, I said, "Hey, Anthony, I'm gonna kill a deer this evening." And he looked at me like, "You're full of it. You're full of it. You just saying that because you want to be optimistic." I'll be dang if I didn't kill one 3 hours before dark. A doe and a matron doe come out, and I shot the big doe. And I was back at the truck. I had her quartered up in my pack and back at the truck before dark. And he didn't believe me when he walked up until we was eating backstrap that evening at the camp.
That's always a good time when you end up back at the truck with a deer and it's still, daylight.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you're scanning these. I'm imagining you walking down a ditch and you're scanning these oak trees. When you see one that's dropping, you're going up to it, I would imagine, and just looking for the tops of the acorns. And are you looking for scratchings too? Is that like they do a lot of that pawing at the ground where you guys are at?
It'll be so if you can imagine, if you walk up to an oak tree and you see it's got fruit on it, but then you get to the bottom and you see acorns everywhere. They still have their hats, and there's still leaves underneath that tree. Keep walking.
Mm-hmm.
Keep walking, because you're not going to see a deer there. You go until you find that tree that's dropping. The hats are off, and they have a little notch in them. I think Catman has a good video, a YouTube video, and he shows these acorns how they got like a little notch, and that's where the teeth from the deer have notched it out. and it's just the hat sitting there on the ground. And then also they'll beat it to the dirt. And if there's any moisture in the ground, it'll be mud. They'll move it, and they'll move all the leaves out of the way. It's the craziest thing how underneath this tree is just bare dirt, and you got nothing but acorns that are falling midday. And you got, like I said, the old crap, the new crap, and the middle-aged crap. That means they're frequenting it for about a week. They've been there. And, that's a hot tree. Now, there's tracks everywhere.
Now, I'm going to
with hookings around it, too. You really want to hunt that one because there's a chance of killing a buck.
Now, I'm going to pretend we're walking down this ditch, and there's pretty much oak trees lined all the way down, we'll say 50 yards on each side. Maybe they're hitting the very last one, but they're not hitting the first one or any of the other 10 or whatever it is to begin with. What do you think that has to do with, the taste of the acorns? What would be the reason that they would hit one tree over another in such a small area?
Ben, you got it?
I think it's, like I said, it might be the taste, but I think it's the amount of acorns is dropping. I think a lot of trees are going to be hotter than others. They're just going to be dropping that many more acorns at a time than other trees.
It's like a buffet.
Yeah. So, I mean, the more acorns they're dropping, the more deer you're going to see coming to that tree. That's what I think, in my opinion.
And he's right in a I forget what they call it, but in an abundant year, he's absolutely right. They're dropping so many. And that story I just told where I missed the doe in the morning, that tree was dropping so many, and I hunted. It was actually like a ditch size. It wasn't like 10, 15 yards wide. I'm talking about a 3-foot wide ditch, and the acorns were falling, and it was making like a trough there. And the deer were coming in there eating that, and there was just so many that they didn't have to think about it. They just, when they took a bite, they was taking a bite of a bunch of acorns. But in a lean year, I would say it does have to do with the taste. Some of them have more tannin than others, and that's why they prefer white oaks over red oaks.
Right.
It's the time of the season, white oaks may not be available, and the pin oaks are dropping. So they're going to eat the pin oaks. But when the white oaks become available that have the less tannin, they'll want those. And I don't know, Ben, if you've ever done it, but I've tasted the acorns, and I've just put them in my mouth, cracked them, and tasted it. And if it takes all the moisture out of your mouth, it does the same thing to the deer, and they don't like it. But if you can put it in your mouth and not immediately want to spit it out, the deer do the same thing, and that's going to be a hot tree. I mean, other than the other sign that you see, where they've been hitting it. So if you walk up to a tree and you see a bunch of acorns, and you taste them, and you're like, man, I didn't have to spit that one out. Mark it on your maps and come back to it. If you're there for a couple of days, it might turn on in a couple of days.
It will. It probably will. Well, I'm sure around here, I don't know about you guys, but here it definitely would get turned on at some point because obviously winter's going to come and food's going to be scarce. But is that an issue where you're at though? Because it's mostly warm there, so there's food all the time.
No. It's not. There's food all the time. Now, the nutrients in the food is not as good as what y'all have. So it's abundant, but it's not giving them, all the protein, all the nutrition that they need. That's why y'all's horns are a lot bigger than ours. We don't have the nutrients. It goes towards body fat more than it goes to horns. Don't get me wrong. We have areas that have 200-inch deer down here, but they're secluded. And those areas, as far as public land goes, get hit hard.
If you have one of those areas saved on X or something, you can shoot me the pin for those 200-inch deer. I'd be interested in taking a look at them.
If you come down, we'll take you to a 200-inch spot.
I don't know if I could do it. I'll be shaking like a leaf on a tree, I'm sure.
But I've missed way bigger bucks than I have on my wall. in those spots.
Yeah.
So they're there.
They're
there. So is that the main food source it's going to be for where you guys are at, is acorns then?
You want to tell me about the swamp food?
Talking about the bean trees? Or
yeah, well, you got bean trees, you got the alligator grass, you got the elephant ears.
Ooh, elephant ears. We have those here, but my grandma plants them in her flower boxes.
That's not the same.
Oh, it's not the same.
I don't think it is.
You talking about just this covered?
Yeah, I'm talking about the big giant
green leaf.
Yeah.
If you get to a spot and you see you could see bite marks and then gnawing on them. They've been eating them.
People decorate with those here.
Yeah,
really,
really.
So like in the swamps down here, they don't have acorn trees. Like some places do, you can find them on like a hill.
Yeah,
but like some of the swamp is just like marsh type swamp, and you'll get those elephant ears or the alligator grass. And you'll find where they pick those up. And those is like the transitions he's talking about. You know, you'll find those on the transitions and you'll hunt those.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's very similar. You know, here it's corn and beans. There it's elephant ears and what'd you say, alligator grass or something?
Well, it's not a transition of alligator grass and elephant ears. It's more of a transition. We call them cypress breaks.
Okay.
It's where the cypress trees are growing, and if you look at it on the map, you can see a defined line, and you hunt those. If you're standing out in the swamp, you can see it. You'll look out across, 500 yards, and then you'll see like a wall of trees.
The cypress trees are obviously they're much taller than the other trees in the swamp around here.
So they're almost jolting out like a point, kind of.
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we've established you guys have a shit ton of water down there. So I know a little bit of this answer, but, we talked a little bit about it when we were in Ohio. But I'm not sure. I didn't know it, so I'm sure there's a shit ton of people that don't know it. Tracking a deer and specifically, a deer that's bleeding in water and it's running across water. How are you going to find a deer when he's bleeding in water?
Shoot a cannon and make them drop where they are.
I was about to say, you got to make a good shot. Like you got
to. I don't know how y'all think or do up there, but we shoot them dead in the shoulder, and we want to put a bullet through both shoulders where their chest hits the ground first. We don't want them using their front legs. They either drop dead or they have no mobility in their front legs. We want them down. And we don't stop shooting. We don't stop shooting until we see the movement stop.
But not everybody does. So some deer get away. How do you track them in the water? I mean, it does happen, right?
Yeah, it does.
Some people have dogs.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
So the grass will show blood real well. You have your yellow grass, your pepper grass. So you can follow blood real easy on the pepper grass. It's almost like a white canvas, and so the blood just pops on it. But like in the deep swamp, you'd have to look for bubbles. You'd have to see bubbles in the water or like a mud slick. And then the blood will float too. So I follow bubbles in the mud slick more than the blood, but I just happen to notice in the mud slick that I can see blood, off to the side of it.
So how you know if it's a turtle or if it's bubbles from the deer?
Oh, it's obvious.
Yeah.
It's obvious. It's a mud turnover. You see like a trail of mud.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah,
they're running. But you can track deer in the swamp by looking at the bubbles. You'll know how fresh the deer trail is just by walking through the swamp. And if you come across one with bubbles and you're looking and you can see it. That's
interesting. There may be a point in time where I hunt somewhere with a shit ton of water like that, but I know that can still be useful to me hunting around rivers, hunting around creeks. Always seems like they go across water here. Now it's more like a ditch or something like that, but it's still good knowledge to know, when it comes to blood being in the water and kind of what to look for. I had never heard about the bubble thing, so I'm sure that'll come in handy later down the road.
It's almost like a boat in salt water, boat.
Yep.
You can see a boat trail going through and the bubbles come up.
Yeah.
Same concept.
Yep.
Pretty much.
So Louisiana is vastly different than Southern Indiana, as I can, as I imagine. What are some of the biggest struggles you guys have down there as far as hunting goes? Is it the heat? Is it the bugs? Maybe just start at the top of your biggest struggle.
The weather.
The weather.
The weather. A hot day is going to turn them off. They don't move. And, I remember back at the lease that we had, like, as soon as the sun hit the tree line, we'd start texting, get ready, or I'm starting to see movement, because that's when the major temperature change happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're not hunting the weather down here, you're hunting wrong.
Yeah, so it's not so much you combating the weather, it's more the deer don't move whenever the weather's hot. Yeah.
And like we said, the food is so abundant here, they'll lay in their bed and eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're in a briar thicket, or they're laid up on a tussock next to alligator grass, and they'll just sit there and they'll eat it.
Now, I know you told me you don't hunt specific bucks, but we're going to pretend you do. Just for the point I want to make, if you have a deer that's like that, and he's eating in his bed, what are you doing? You're focusing, obviously you can't walk up on him and shoot him. Are you going to focus on the closest water source, or how would you kind of tackle that? Or is he unkillable?
No, he's killable. We go get dogs.
Oh, you guys do that there too?
Yeah, we dog hunt them.
Yeah.
We'll go get dogs and put on them.
You dog hunt them with a bow?
No.
Why not?
Because we use crossbows for that. I'm kidding. No, actually so dog hunting, we would use rifles or shotguns. But no, if you're talking about bow hunting, he's unkillable.
He's unkillable.
He's unkillable.
Until when? Gun season?
Gun season.
Yeah.
They rut late here. I've seen them running in early February over here.
I've been
January.
Is that for the second run, or is that the initial rut?
I think the second rut, I've walked up on scrapes that were hot in March, turkey scouting.
Yeah.
Now, when's your season end? Your deer season there?
Bow season, I think it's February 15th.
Yep.
Yeah.
February 15th for bow season.
Yeah.
But
rifles, so it runs pretty late.
Yeah. Rifles like late January. It all depends on what management area you want to hunt. They have different seasons and different weekends and different doe days and bucks only, and you just got to read the regulations.
Something interesting about Louisiana is the season starts like September 20th in the state. Now, the whole state doesn't do this, but September 20th is opening day for some areas.
Mm-hmm.
And February 15th is the ending day. Well, between September 20th-ish and February 15th, there is deer rutting in some part of the state.
Yeah.
And there's
100%.
Public land available in that area.
So you can almost chase the rut.
You can.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard that before either.
Yep. Well, we had so many deer transplanted from different areas of the country to build our population back that it's just their genetics. They're rutting, pretty much all hunting season long.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. What about you, Ben? Is that the major issue for you? Is going to be weather, or is it something else?
It's going to be either weather or just the time I can take to get out there. I mean, obviously, I want to be out there every day, but any chance I get, I'm going to be out there. I don't care if it's raining or snowing or any weather. I just want to be out there every chance I get. I don't really pay attention to all the moon phases and the weather and the temperature and all that. I'm just gonna go just because I can, and
Yeah.
you never know. I mean, at least some of it. I don't know if a lot of it, but at least some of it's gonna be luck every time. I mean,
There's a lot of people out there that get lucky.
Yeah, you're not just. I mean, you're not just gonna go in there and think you're gonna kill them every time. You gotta get lucky every now and then. You know what I'm saying?
So, 2022. It's August. Season starts September, right? Is it September-ish 20th for you guys?
No, we got to go about 4 hours west.
So when's your season for your area that you hunt start?
October 1st.
Yeah. So you're getting close. You guys got plans? Are you guys going to be like hunting together all the time? You guys like drive together and split up? Kind of what's your plans for 2022? Do you have any? You don't target specific bucks, so what's your plans? You just looking for these fruit trees and that's kind of it? Just kill them all?
Yeah. Benny's got a little bit different schedule than me, so we don't really. I mean, we had last year. I don't know how many hunts you made. I don't think you made a hunt.
I made 4 hunts all year.
But we hunt different areas. We hunt some of the same areas. We just
you see what I'm saying? Between work and home life, I only made 4 hunts. Yeah. Most of it was work. And so if you work that much, then you got to come home and tell the wife that I want to go hunting. She's good. Don't get me wrong. Don't take that the wrong way. My wife loves me and she will let me go hunt. But, it's just that guilt you feel about neglecting the family for work. And then now you're going hunting on your only days off. So
how do you not feel guilty about that? Is it just to push yourself as far as you possibly can? That way you know that you did your best?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So, like, the days that you actually do get to go hunt, you push.
And you want to know you're in an area that, you're going to at least see one.
You want a high percentage hunt. Yeah. You want to make sure that you put boots on the ground. You map scout first. You obviously find a transition, and then within that transition, you find the hot feed tree. And if you find the hot feed tree, it's a high percentage hunt, and you shoot the first thing that walks out. You get to come home and tell the wife, "Hey, thank you, babe, for giving me the okay and loving me enough to let me go hunt for a couple days," and you actually come back with something.
Yeah, I think it's really important what you guys said is hunting where the deer are at. When I grew up as a kid, it was kind of like you'd go out in August or September, October maybe, because gun season's not till November. And you'd put up a stand. You'd be like, this looks pretty good. As you guys know, everything changes every 2 weeks in the woods, but you just basically sit there and sit there and sit there. Eventually you'd get lucky, a straggler would come through, but I think a lot of people do that still. They don't hunt where the deer is, and I changed that up a lot last year. And I'll tell you what, I saw more deer than I ever have, and I would sit in a stand 1 or 2 times before I would move. It is a lot more work. You got to go in and climb, and you don't just go in and get up in a ladder stand, but it's worth it, or it's paid off for me. It seems like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go where the deer are at, go where the sign's at, and it changes all the time.
Yeah. So growing up, I think Ben and I had the same experience. It was, stay away from public land because you're going to get shot.
Yep.
And it was, we have 120 acres. That's a lot. Most people don't have that. We got 120 acres, sit the same stand. Eventually something's going to walk by. And I just don't think that's the case. It is like something's going to walk by. Ben and I killed a lot of deer. We killed a lot of deer when we were young, but we also had the time to do it. Yeah. Like I think both of our dads are roughly, in the same age bracket. They grew up and was hunting together. And I would say that Benjamin and I, the number of deer we killed is probably 50 times what our dads have killed.
Yeah. But they just enjoy.
And that's almost literal. Yeah. 50 times more deer than what our dads have killed. And they hunted all their life.
Yeah, it's interesting that, back in I'll reference my dad probably bow hunted in the 80s and the 90s and that stuff. But it's interesting back then. If you look at like old magazines or anything that I've read, like informational wise from back then, is, you know, we get it all from social media now, but they were getting a magazine once a month or whatever. I never have came across anything where people are like, hunt where the sign is. It was just such a different time.
Yeah, well, for us, if you can imagine, dude, we're reading magazines that were written by guys hunting up where you're at.
Yeah.
And so they're talking about stuff that we have no relation to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I remember having conversations about, you know, this is what the deer are supposed to be doing, but that's just not how it is down here. It's completely different. And, you know, it's my daddy and Ben's daddy, they grew up reading those magazines too. And I can tell you, my dad's killed 7 deer in his life. 7. And it's like he's 60, almost 60 years old. And I know I've killed way more than that. And it's that aggressive style that we developed that has allowed us to do that. You know, we got away from sitting one spot all the time, you know, waiting for a deer to come by. Instead, we go to the highway where the deer are walking. You know, we take it to them. And it really changes, you know, your interaction with deer, and you learn a lot more. Be aggressive with it. You know, even if you get busted, you probably going to learn something getting busted. So go do that.
And you make a good point too about, you know, the information that you're taking in or reading. It needs to be relevant. You can't obviously act like you're hunting in Iowa when you're hunting a 5-acre plot in the middle of the city in Indiana or something. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of the reason too. I try to pull people in from west, north, south, and east is, you know, there's people that probably live around you that listen to this show. The stuff that I tell them is not going to be relevant to them. But, you know, when it comes to,
well, I'll be honest, they're probably not going to listen to your show because of it.
Oh gosh, that, you say you're not going to listen?
Yeah. I'm not saying that you're not bringing good content, but like it is that big a difference.
Yeah.
It really is. Now, so like there's a lot of guys here that travel and go hunt, you know, and if that's relevant to them to hunt, you know, the northern states, then they'll listen to your podcast. But I mean,
I also find it interesting, like what'd you call it? You called it a pine plantation. We're not going to have that kind of stuff around here, but I think even information like that, even though, you know, I don't have that specific thing going on, I think I can kind of apply that, you know, when it comes to looking at maps and stuff here, because we do have sections of pines, maybe not for telephone poles, but they may just be growing there like that. And that's interesting. An oak tree in the middle of that. I think that something that I'll be looking for this year.
If pines are y'all's bedding, if they're not bedding in the pines, if you have mature pines and the undergrowth isn't there, they're not bedding there.
Yeah, you gotta have thick stuff underneath.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't where I'm at, we don't have pine trees are pretty sporadic here. But there is areas north of here where it's a little more prevalent. So but we're gonna kind of tie it up here. We're getting at like an hour and a half. But I do I have 2 last questions. Number 1 tip, and I'll let you both give your own thing here. Whoever wants to go first. Number 1 tip to another bow hunter, and they may be new, they may have done it for 30 years. What's your number one tip? If somebody said, give me a tip, Benny.
It's got to be the hunt aggressively. Do more scouting than actual hunting. Find the hot sign and disregard all the rest. If you don't walk up on a spot that says, I have to hunt here, walk by it. Just keep going. Because you're going to learn more about deer that way than you are any other way. Sitting on a stand over a food plot is not going to teach you about deer unless you got, 20, 30 deer in the field and you get to watch how they scratch their ears. I don't know. But if you're going to learn about their movements and their habits and, their feeding habits and what transitions are good transitions, what feed is in at a given time, you're going to have to be aggressive. You're going to have to take it to the deer, and you're going to have to move every time. I don't hunt a tree more than once, usually. Twice is a lot.
Real quick before you jump into it, Ben, how important, Benny, is failure to you when it comes to learning?
There is no failure. Failure is just another opportunity to learn. And so I just don't count that as failure.
Mm-hmm.
And you say failure, but even though I've missed deer, that's not failure. I just didn't bring them home. I succeeded. And the only thing I didn't do was run an arrow through it. So it's not failure to me. I accomplished what I set out to do. I put a deer within bow range.
Okay, Ben, what about you? What's your, and you can't pick the same thing.
All right. So, yeah, you want to know what to look for and stuff like that, feed trees and all that. But my biggest thing probably is going to be practice and consistency with, obviously, you want to shoot. I mean, some people out here, they shoot every day. That's awesome. You want to shoot a lot. You want to get comfortable with, practice makes perfect, like they say. And not only shooting is how you get up in a tree, how you set up. You want to practice different angle, different shots. I like to get up in a tree and get in my saddle and practice different shots of where a deer is going to come out, how far it's going to be, just the different angles and different elevations and different distance shots. I just, you want to be prepared for anything when you're out there, because obviously anything can happen. You could be thinking all day a deer's going to come out right here and you're going to shoot it right here, and then it's going to do the complete opposite. So I think my biggest deal is going to be practice and having that repetition and just doing it every week, every day, whatever it takes until the season comes, just to be prepared for any situation that comes out there. So.
Now, tying it up here with the last one, and this can be a story together. I know you guys said you don't always hunt together, so maybe you guys have separate stories. But I want to know the craziest story or the funniest story or the wildest thing that's happened to you while hunting. Ever get shot at? Ever fall out of a tree? Ever, I don't know, any weird encounter? There's a lot of weird people on public land. I'll save my stories for a later time, but you ever run into any interesting folks out there?
No.
I've never been shot at.
I try to stay away from people.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Never had your foot bit by a gator or something? Nothing?
No, I've hunted over the top of a gator during like the winter time. They get lethargic.
Yeah.
And they've been underneath the tree that I planned on hunting. In the swamp, I say I never hunt a tree twice, but sometimes in that swamp, you'll hunt the same tree because it's along a transition and it's just a movement corridor. It's not a hot feed tree. In the swamp, like there are no feed trees. It's just transitions that you're hunting. And they just feed on alligator grass, and that's so random and sporadic that it could be anywhere. But yeah, I've hunted over the top of alligators that were lethargic and just laying there. I got pictures. If you go on my Facebook, I got a picture of one underneath a tree.
So what'd you do? Put the stick over top of him and just go, or what?
Yeah, they don't bother you.
They're more scared of you than you are of them.
Yeah, and it's so cold. Like when they're lethargic, it's so cold that they're not interested.
No.
Oh.
You could tap them and they ain't moving.
Yeah.
You could hit them with your bow. They just want to sit there.
That's
had
crazy.
I've had a squirrel run me out of a tree faster than a gator would.
Squirrel, they'll bite you.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben? Anything crazy ever happened to you?
Crazy
or funny or interesting? It's okay if you haven't.
I could tell you one of my best hunts, like as far as memory wise on public land.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to call it crazy or just, I don't know. I found it pretty rare to happen. Me and one of my buddies, we found this spot and we decided we were going to go in there together, but we were going to hunt a couple 100 yards from each other, 200 yards from each other. And we set up, and I set up in this one spot, and I remember it like it was yesterday. We were walking to the spot, and I sat down. We were hunting on the ground. It was rifle bucks only. And he was like, man, are you really going to sit right here? And I was like, I don't know. What you think? And he was like, nah, come on. He was like, walk a couple hundred yards more. We're gonna find a better spot. So we kept going, and he was like, you need to sit here. So I sat down, and he kept going about 200-300 yards, and it wasn't. He texted me, I'm set up or whatever. It wasn't 20 minutes after that. A big body deer come out. It was a 5-point. It was 4 on one side, and then the other was broke off at the brow tine. So it was just like a little nub. And it was a 5-point. He came out, shot him or whatever, and I was so excited. I gave like a good yell, like I was just pumped up. I was like, woo, and he was like, bro, what are you doing? He was like, I'm still hunting. Like, I can hear you. I'm 200 yards from you. And I was like, bro, I'm just excited, like this is awesome. And a couple hours go by. It's right before dark. I hear a shot, and he starts yelling. And I'm like, ain't no way, bro. There's no way. Sure enough, he shot an 8-point, and we were literally 200 yards from each other, and it was just cool. We doubled up. We were like 2 miles back in the woods. I mean, we were back there till like 9 o'clock packing these deer out. We quartered them up in the woods, and it was just a cool experience. I'll never forget that hunt. It was probably one of my best hunts.
Now, you guys talk a little bit about quartering stuff up and packing it out. Is gators an issue whenever you got all that blood stuff around?
No, they're not gonna bother you. I mean, there's bears in some of the places we hunt, which I've never had the problem, and I don't think Ben ever has either. I'm sure he would have told me that story, but no. I've heard of guys killing a deer, and when they get to their deer, there's a bear on it.
Now I've shot deer, cleaned it, come back the next day, hunt the next spot, and pigs just got it tore up. Like literally the hide and everything stumped in the mud. Pigs will come and eat the guts out, and just a pack of 20 or 30 of them just tear the whole deer up and eat everything off of it.
Yeah. Forget you guys have all those wild critters down there. I forgot you guys had pigs. We don't have those here either. I mean, they're like one for like a 25-mile radius probably.
You walk up on 20 or 30 of them.
The last time I had a tree stand on my back, me and my business partner Anthony, you met him in Ohio. We were coming out of the woods, and we was in like flooded timber. I wouldn't call it a swamp. It's flooded timber. And we could hear in front of us, we heard, and I put the light on bright, and I look out there, and there's a big pig, and he's coming to us. And this can be my crazy story, but he comes to us, and he stops about 10 yards from us. And it's like, I don't know what we're going to do, because this thing's going to eat us alive. And all we got is our bows. We don't have, a rifle. I mean, we could shoot him, but it's dark, and, it's like our bows are on our back. It's not an easy thing. But I'm like, Anthony, you got your pistol? And he goes, no, I ain't got my pistol. It's in the truck. Dang, dude.
Of course it is. The one time you need it.
So, what are we going to do? And so we try and just ease off and walk away, keep an eye on him. But as soon as we start taking steps, he charges us. And I mean, both of us go up the nearest tree, and it's like we got these heavy stands on our back. I guarantee you we didn't get 2 foot off the tree, but we just got narrowly missed by this big boar hog. And he runs off, and he circles back, and it's like we just keep jumping up the tree. We must have done it 3 or 4 times before he finally moved off. And he just never gave us the opportunity to shoot him to get out of the way. I think right at the beginning I grabbed Anthony's bow off his back and went to give it to him, and then we went to move, and that's when he charged us. But
Now, I know pigs are like the whole nuisance thing, but I don't know all the laws and stuff. Are you allowed to shine a light at a pig in the middle of the woods and shoot it? Is that like legal? Obviously, you can't do that with a deer. So
I didn't know. You don't know it. No.
Is there stipulations behind that? I just was curious about your
Public
state.
land, I know for sure you can't do that at night.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
you can kill them with whatever season is in. So if like bow season's in for deer, you can kill them with a bow.
Okay.
Or if rifle season's in, you can kill them with a rifle. But in the off season, they allow you to shoot them in the light. You can shoot them at night in the light, but during the deer season, the open deer season, you can't.
That has a lot to do with. I swear I was pig hunting, but
yeah.
That's to weed all that out for the wardens, I would assume.
Yeah, but in that situation I was in, I didn't care.
Yeah, I mean, life or death, that's obviously different, but I did just pop in my head.
I don't know if it was life or death, but I sure was about to shoot him. If I'd have had the opportunity, I'd have shot him.
Yeah.
And we'd have figured that out later.
It's like a big bulldozer coming at you. They call them swamp dozers.
Yeah.
Swamp dozers.
Dude, I mean, when you walk up on a spot, you could tell a pack came through because, I mean, they literally just tear it up like a big dozer just came through and just literally just filled up the ground.
They're just putting their tusks in the ground, right, and tilling it up with that.
They call it rooting.
Yeah, they're rooting for grub worms and acorns that the squirrels buried and things like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. I know we had some scheduling issues going on, but I'm glad we finally got that worked out because I've been wanting to get you on here for a while. So I appreciate that. I will have you guys kind of read off or tell everybody where to find you on social media and the website and all that. Maybe some people are listening on Apple and Spotify and they won't see the scrolly thing at the bottom.
Okay.
So Benny, if you want to go first with the Buzzard Roost stuff, and then Ben, I'll let you throw out your Instagram or whatever else social you have or want to put out there.
Yeah. So Buzzard Roost Saddles. You can do buzzardroostsaddles.com. That's where you can find our saddles. You can purchase our saddles. You can email us with any questions. We got Instagram. Again, any questions you got, we love fielding questions, so please don't hesitate to ask. And Facebook, Buzzard Roost Saddles. YouTube also. We have a few videos out. We need to get better at that. We need to do more videos. But that's it. Instagram, TikTok. I'm sorry, TikTok. We just started a TikTok account. Actually, Adam helped us set it up, and then we're gonna move forward and do more videos on TikTok.
Nothing posted yet, but we got the account. We got the name established. So
yeah, I think people would love to see you know, how to use your saddles or maybe some, I don't know, you know, patents and all that stuff, but it would be cool to see how your saddle's made, like you guys stitching them up and stuff on TikTok or something. I don't know. Yeah,
absolutely.
And then Ben, are you on Facebook or Instagram, all that stuff?
Ben Parker. You can search me up, and then I have Instagram is Ben C Parker. I think all lowercase or whatever. That's pretty much all I got. I got a Twitter, but I don't really get on Twitter. You know, that's kind of like the past life for me.
Yeah.
More the more business side of it was just a lot of Facebook and Instagram, stuff like that. And like you said, YouTube and TikTok's a big deal. So we're fresh on TikTok. So be expecting some good content here in the near future.
Yeah, cool. So, well, again, I appreciate you guys coming on, and you know, I hope a lot of this information or pieces of this information about the saddle thing is helpful to people, because I struggled with that too, like wanting to buy a saddle and not knowing if it's going to fit. It's almost like if you buy hunting clothes online, you're like, it's going to be too small, too big. How do I use it? That I would highly, highly, highly recommend going to one of those expos, because once you sit in it and you feel the platform, you feel the saddle, the guy who made it or the owner of the company is teaching you how to use it properly. You're not using some junky manual that's not very explanatory.
100%.
Absolutely.
You're right.
All right, guys. Well, we'll get out of here, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.
Sweet. Later. Thank you, Adam.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Hunt the Wild podcast. If you enjoyed the show and it's brought you some sort of value, I'd love if you could give me a rating and a review. Just a few seconds of your time can help me better understand the type of content you all enjoy, and it would mean the world to me to hear from all of you.